Do you ever get lonely when you're pooping? What is going on, everyone? Welcome back to Rank Everything, the show where we rank everything. I am your host, Ryan. And today, we're going to be ranking each of the One Piece crewmates based on which one would or would not survive fighting the Smile Monster. Um, so our tiers for today are, here at the bottom we have dies. These are the crewmates that they encounter and they die, and it's like very easy for the monster. Then we have puts up a good fight but still dies. These are monsters who they do this stuff that's like that, like we see in the movies with like the characters putting up fights and they're figuring out weird ways and they're learning about the monster and things like that. But then ultimately they still die because they get fucked with. Then up from there we have does the murder trick and lives. So if you remember from the first Smile movie, the guy in the prison explains that if you are afflicted with the monster and you kill someone else and then someone else sees you commit the murder, the monster will latch on to that person, freeing you. But of course you land in prison for the rest of your life because you committed murder. But you live and you never have to put up with that shit again. And then from there, we have kills the monster. These are characters who are they're not scared. They do their One Piece stuff, crazy ass moves, and they kill the monster. And then up there, we have freaks the monster. Our top tier is freaks the monster. These are characters who not only is the monster not able to affect them, they actually turn the tables on the monster, and they do it back to the monster. But up first, we've got Brook. So Brook is an amazing friend, despite the fact that he is ultimately a scaredy cat pervert, despite the fact that he's literally a talking skeleton, a living, walking, talking skeleton. It's one of the things where just like, I'm not really sure how the Smile Monster would even affect him, considering that he's already technically dead. However, his soul is still inside of his body. And we don't know a lot about the Smile Monster, but we do know that it effectively feeds on the person's soul or their spirit or their mind or something like that. And so whatever it is, whatever the fuck is going on, I think it would still affect Brook, but then it's like also Brook can remove his soul from his body and kind of just go anywhere with it thanks to his ability. Because his devil fruit is like awakened or something, which lets his soul exit the body and just go wherever. I'm going to say that Brook puts up a good fight, but I think he still dies. Just because I think that the monster, I think that Brook would ultimately be able to do some weird stuff with his devil fruit that would make it difficult for the monster. Frankie, so it's one of those things where maybe Frankie is also a little bit interesting because he's mostly cyborg. Like, he has his brain still, but the heavy majority, if not all of his body besides his brain, is all robotic. And so it makes me wonder if I think it would be the same, because it gets in his brain. Maybe it would make him think he was human again because it does weird stuff like that. Other sorts of weird things. Frankie's pretty fearless, but I think he's still got some scaredy cat in him. But I'm gonna say Frankie also puts up a good fight and dies. I think he would give the monster a run for its money for a short time. Jinbei absolutely kills the monster. Not only is Jinbei one of the most fearless people we've ever seen, or is one of the most fearless members of the Straw Hat crew. He's also stupid strong. It's one of those things where, like, his fishman karate has, like, he's so insanely good at fishman karate that he's able to, like, I don't know. I can't remember. The only instance I remember is it's, like, right after Impel Down, after they finally escape the prison and they're on their way to Marineford. And, he talks about how, sometimes my fishman karate can get a little bit out of hand once I enter the water because it's apparently way stronger if he's in the water. And he just throws a tsunami at them is effectively what happens. You might as well just say that's what it was. And so, like, I know that the monster is all inside your head, but, like, with the way that One Piece is, I feel like Jinbei would figure something out. It would somehow work. Luffy's probably the funniest one, which would be, of course, on purpose. I think Luffy's goes in one of two directions. One, Luffy is so stupid that the monster just gives up and leaves. Like, the monster realizes that there's nothing it can do to scare him and, feed on his soul. And so it just gives up. And then, two, Luffy just goes into Gear 5 and uses his Toon Force, and then the monster literally cannot hurt him because, And so, I think that, honestly, I think that Luffy definitely... We're just going to put Luffy in the Freaks, the monster category, because he absolutely could if he wanted to, thanks to the Sun God powers. Nami and Usopp are the closest we've got to regular people on the Straw Hat crew as possible. Nami's extremely smart, but she's a super duper scaredy cat. She has nothing spectacular about her besides her brain and some other assets of hers. So she's going to go in the dies category. I'm sorry, Nami dies. Nami gets mind fucked by the smile monster. Robin is a survivor. She survived Ohara and was able to make her way through Baroque works for all those years among all those different shady characters, and it's just I think that Robin would do the murder trick and live. I really think Robin would cross that line of killing another person to save herself. Just because that's kind of how we were introduced to her, is she's part of this ruthless bounty hunting or evil corporation and kind of thing. Sanji, I think that Sanji, I don't know. Sanji's such a badass, the same way that Zoro is, and so Sanji would figure out a way to kill it. That's the thing. Like, Sanji doesn't have a devil fruit. He doesn't have crazy ass god powers. He's just really damn good in the kitchen, and he's a really good fighter because he learned Blackleg from Zeph. And so, but aside from that, he's a regular ass dude. Now, it's one of those things where if Sanji was able to intimidate the monster after it got into his head, the same way that I imagine Zoro would do it or Jinbei would do it, maybe that would work. But either Sanji kills the monster or Sanji puts up a good fight and dies. I'm gonna put him in the good fight and dies, just because he doesn't have anything. He doesn't have all these. He just outside of his two major character things, which is being the chef and being really good at the leg stuff. He's just a regular ass guy. Chopper. I mean, no, Chopper. It's either, well, okay. Well, actually, hold on, let's think about this for a second. So remember, in the second movie, the main character meets the nurse guy who thinks that he's figured out a way to get rid of the monster without killing her. And so, and there's speculation whether or not this guy was ever real at all because of the way that the monster messes with the person's head. But his whole thing is that he basically put her into a comatose state where she is actually dead, but it's just a sort of a stasis, and then after she's been dead for, a minute or so, he'll bring her back to life through resuscitation. I feel like Chopper might be able to come up with a scheme like that, assuming that he can do it fast enough before the monster really takes a hold of his mind. So, I'm going to say Chopper puts up a good fight but still dies, because I think he'll be able to use his medical brain to maybe come up with something like that. Usopp dies because he's a crazy ass scaredy cat. He's very intelligent the same way that Nami and everyone else is, but he's got nothing that can save him unless he has some kind of special plant pill that he can use or take on himself to somehow free him from that. There's no way that Usopp dies, unfortunately. Zoro, I think this is also funny. I do think that Zoro freaks the monster, because I know that Zoro and Sanji are sort of supposed to be on the same level in terms of strength. I think that's what has sort of been implied by the series so far, but I don't really think that's true. I think Zoro is way, way stronger than Sanji, and I think that the monster. I think that if Zoro gets pissed off enough by the monster being there, I don't think that there's anything the monster can do, and I think that Zoro will take a lot of pleasure in cutting and destroying the monster. And it's another thing, Zoro can use Conqueror's Haki. I don't know if he can use Conqueror's Haki like in his brain somehow that would allow him to, if he can use Conqueror's Haki in his brain somehow to subjugate the monster, but I wouldn't be too surprised with the way that One Piece works. But that is going to be our ranking for which of the One Piece Straw Hat crew members would or would not survive the Smile Monster. If you all enjoyed this video, please subscribe to the channel to see more content like this in the future. It means everything to me whenever you all subscribe to the channel. And watch the videos all the way through. Leave a like on this video so that YouTube will recommend it more to others. And then finally, leave a comment down below letting me know what ranking you want to see in the future. It can be anything. The channel is called Rank Everything. Once again, thank you all for watching. Until next time, have a good one.